I was in a class with this girl, right? She tells me that she wants to fight some girl after class. She told me if I could record with her phone. And I was like, for sure. They're fighting, doing their thing, and tell me why this teacher comes running, trying to break up the fight. She looks at me and she tells me, stop recording, you fucking bitch. Yo, my blood was boiling. I'm the type of person that I will always stand up for myself. It was my first time seeing this lady, so I tried to find her. I described her to my friends. I'm like, she had short hair, she's a white woman. Who is she? Nobody knew. So tell me why I'm in the parking lot and I see her. She's unlocking her car. I go up to her and I tell her, hey, do you remember me? She looks at me with a smile. She tells me no. And I tell her, I'm the girl that you called a fucking bitch. And then her face just switched up. She told me that she was gonna put me in jail. And this woman literally tried to, like for part 2. Let me recap real quick. So a high school teacher calls me a bitch. I find her at the parking lot. She's trying to unlock her car door. I go up to her and I tell her, hey, do you remember me? She tells me no. And I told her, I'm the girl that you called a fucking bitch to. Her face quickly switched up. She said, oh yeah, I do remember you. She started screaming at me. She said that she was gonna put me in jail and that she was gonna sue me and all this and that. I told her, fine, I'll see you at court then. I walked away. My best friend at the time started screaming at her saying, catch my fade, bitch. And it was pretty funny, but we ended up walking away. And this teacher sends 2 girls after us. The girls are asking us, what's your name? We need to get your first name and your last name. Huge Karens in the making, by the way. And I was just telling the girls to leave, that it was none of their business. This teacher wanted my name, but I didn't want to give it to her. But tell me why I end up running into this teacher. And guess who she's talking to? So I end up leaving class to go to the restroom. I'm walking to the restrooms, the hallways are lonely, and then I do a turn and guess who's walking towards me? The teacher that calls me the B word. She's talking to a probation officer, telling him that she wants me locked up. And I am looking at them freaking out because we're literally walking towards each other. You guys don't know what a probation officer is? It's like a cop, but not really a cop. It's for kids. For bad kids specifically that do drugs and are usually on probation. So then she looks at me and she's like, oh, this is the girl, this is the girl. And she starts pointing at me. Big ol' Karen, FYI guys. And then the probation officer looks at the teacher and says, she's not on probation though. We can't put her in jail. We can't do that. The teacher ends up asking for my name. I give it to her because the probation officer is there and I'm kind of freaking out. And then they let me go back to my class. Hours passed and then they called me to the principal's office. They sent me to the principal's office when I was in high school. And I remember just sitting there and I was kind of like freaking out because I was like, I'm not trying to get suspended. One of my teachers passed by and she was super chill. She stopped and she asked me what had happened. And I told her that this other teacher called me a bitch. My teacher was so upset and she told me that whatever I needed, that she was there for me. Anyways, I go to the principal's office and I tried my best to not get suspended because I was recording the fight. But guess what, guys? They still suspended me. It was supposed to be 4 days, but they chose to only give me 2 since the teacher, obviously didn't do something right. A few months passed by. We're about to take the state test. They move all the students to different classes to take this test, right? And guess what? I walk in and guess who's my teacher? The lady that called me a bitch. I needed to be in that class for a whole week.
One day, I went to my friend's birthday party. We're gonna call her Jazzy. Well, I'm at the party, and then Jazzy's dad pulls me aside, and he's like, can we talk in private? I was like, yeah, of course, because I thought it was gonna be like a gift for Jazzy.
So long story short, he pulls me aside, and it gets so motherfucking weird. Like
homeboy starts holding my hand, and he's like, I always thought you were one of Jazzy's most beautiful friends. Age is just a number. I don't really like my wife. And I was like, that's disgusting. So I got to the point where I got really uncomfortable. I ran away and I went to go tell Jazzy's mom what her husband was telling me.
So I go tell her, right? This is the best part.
So I go to tell Jazzy's mom and she's like, thank you for telling me. I'm gonna take care of it. Here's this water, drink it. Like, you're probably so overwhelmed right now. So I remember I drank the water and I felt dizzy and tingly. Next thing I know, I'm in the hospital because Jazzy's mom put poison in my... After I told Jazzy's mom that her husband was trying to get at me, she gives me a cup of water and she's like, drink it. You're probably so stressed out. Long story short, she put poison in the water. I wake up in the hospital with my parents around me, investigators, all of that ish. They're asking me a lot of questions about Jazzy, about the party, what was going on, like what was her dad telling you. Long story short, this whole investigation is going on Jazzy's family and their background, all of that stuff. This is the best part! So the investigators, you know, they find out that Jazzy's mom has a background on hurting and poisoning a lot of girls that her husband looks at and talks to. I don't really talk to Jazzy anymore. I don't really know what happened. All I do know is that they took Jazzy's mom to like a psych ward.
So my parents left to go to their vaccine appointment. We're watching our little brothers. My sister's cooking in the kitchen and she comes over here and she's like, dude, and I'm in class. So I'm like, is someone dying? Is someone on fire? Because I'm in school. She's like, no, it's just really funny. I'm like, okay, that's fine. She tells me, the teacher tells the little kids to draw a bunch of flowers. And then when they're done, she's like, okay, is everyone done? She tells my little brother, Luciano, are you done with your flowers? Let me see them. This kid goes, no, I drew soccer balls instead. She's like, oh, okay, well, next time try to draw flowers for the rest of the class. He says, my dad said drawing flowers is a waste of time. So, and the teacher's just like, it's not a waste of time. But the reason he told him drawing flowers were a waste of time is not the reason you guys probably think, and not the reason she probably thinks. It's because she always tells him to draw 20 of something or draw 30 of something, and he draws the most complicated shit. He draws race cars, octagons, fucking whatever, but he never gets to finish and he's frustrated because he's behind. So my dad's always like, just draw circles and say they're balls, and then you'll keep up with the class. Because you're wasting the time that you're given right now and you're not gonna keep up. That's what he meant, but now I'm scared that there's gonna be a teacher conference.
I swear to God, I'm not letting a girl pick me up ever again. Homegirl from back in the day hits me up saying, hey, it's been a long time. We should catch up. I'm like, yeah, you just want some fucking dick. But of course, I didn't say that. I'm like, what are you trying to do? She's like, you want to get some dinner? I'll pay. You'll pay? Free food? That's all you have to say. Bet, I'll pick you up. And she tells me, no. I'll pick you up. Yo. It's going good. It's going good. Fast forward to 7:50. She's in front of my house, calls me, hey, I'm here. I'm like, hey, give me 5 minutes. I'm still trying to get ready, putting some Dior Sauvage on, doing my hair. I feel like a girl. And now I walk towards the car. I shit you not. The bitch goes around and opens the door for me. What? It was kind of emasculating, but I didn't give a fuck. So now we're in the car just chit-chatting when all of a sudden, the bitch reaches over and squeezes my thigh. Starts squeezing my thigh and shit. I'm like, yo, hold it down. I'm not a girl. What are you doing? Treating me like a slut.
This is why you should never friend people you don't know on Roblox. I met this guy in Roblox and his name was Jimmy X Bear. Asked if we could be friends on Roblox and I said sure. I wasn't sus of him until a week later when he'd asked me to join his game. And I said sure. So I joined his game. He started then telling me that I was gonna get hacked and that I should stay off Roblox. I was completely confused. I didn't know what to say, so I just left the game. After a week or so, I went back on because of how scared I was, and I was logged out of my account. And now I didn't know what to do. So I went to go log into my account. After 20 or so tries, I finally got back in. I looked to go in my Roblox chats and saw Jimmy X Bear. You won't believe what he said next. Come back for part 2.
So this guy named Dave is bragging to his friend about how he personally knows literally everybody. And his friend is a little skeptical. He's like, you don't know everybody. You don't know, say, Tom Cruise, for example. And Dave goes, oh yeah, I know Tom Cruise. We go way back. Come on, I'll show you. They fly out to his house in Hollywood, knock on his door, and Tom opens up and goes, Dave, how are you? I haven't seen you in forever. But his friend is still a little bit skeptical. And he's like, fine, what about former President Barack Obama? You don't know him. And he's like, oh, I know Barack. Come on, follow me. They go to his house, knock on his door. Obama opens up and goes, Dave, I haven't seen you in forever. Come inside, have a couple of drinks. But his friend is still not convinced. He goes, fine, what about the Pope? You don't know the Pope. And Dave goes, follow me. And they fly out to the Vatican, but there's a huge crowd of people. And he's just like, I'm not going to be able to get the Pope's attention from here, so I'll just go talk to the guards since I know all of them, and I'll just go up and see the Pope. And sure enough, 30 minutes later, he's out on the balcony with the Pope. But when Dave is coming back down, he sees his friend is busting out laughing, and he's just like, dude, what's so funny? And he says, I lost it because you came out onto the balcony with the Pope, and the guy next to me goes, who the fuck is up there with Dave?
I got pulled over today, and the cop comes to my window and goes, license, registration, and proof of insurance. And I look at him, I say, officer, I don't have my license on me, I don't have my registration, I don't have any proof of insurance. So then the cop looks at me and goes, then why the hell were you speeding? I caught you going 90 and a 65. And I look at him and I say, officer, the reason I was speeding was because I just killed my girlfriend. I chopped her up and I put her in my trunk. So the cop backs off my window, says, listen, boy, wait right here. And he calls every cop in the area to come look at my car. So my car is now surrounded by cops, and the chief of police does a whole check. He checks my trunk, and all he finds is a backpack. So then he comes to my window. So the chief of police comes up to my window and says, listen, the officer who pulled you over said you had no driver's license, no proof of insurance, no registration, and that you just chopped up your girlfriend and put her in the trunk. But when I looked in the trunk, all I found was a backpack. I found nothing. And I look at the chief of police and I say, yeah, I know. This lying son of a bitch probably told you I'm speeding too, right?
Tell me your craziest 1 in a million story. Something that happened to you that you just can't believe was real.
So my dad always wanted a son. He just kept trying, and he just couldn't give up. I have 3 sisters. He kept trying. And then there was me. I was finally born. I wasn't supposed to be born on the day that I was born. I think my due date was earlier or later. I forget. But my dad, the day that I was born, he had to cancel work. And the day that he had to cancel work, he had a security meet on the 101st floor of Tower 1 of the Twin Towers. And I was born on September 11th, 2001. So my dad didn't go to work that day, and he got a baby boy. Oh.